If you love college basketball, you're in the pink today as we begin a doubleheader. On Fox, we've got the Maryland Terrapins and number 6, Michigan at Chrysler Center, one of the venerable buildings in all of college basketball. As you look at the standings in the Big Ten, both of these teams are very much in the title hunt. But February is Hunger Month, and it's all about hunger for the march in the month of March. As we welcome you inside alongside the old Ohio State Buckeye, Jim Jackson, Tim Brando, happy to have you with us. And that's really what this game is all about, setting yourselves up. Michigan coming off a difficult loss, one that they did not anticipate. Maryland a little up and down, but a team that probably has a great chance of winning this league.
Well, they do. Maryland 3-3 in their last 6 games, coming off an outstanding defensive performance against Purdue. They were able to win that game. Tough task to ask for a young team to come into Chrysler Center here against this Michigan team that's won 21 in a row at home, 7-0 in the conference. They can do it if defensively they can lock in.
And this is a very difficult matchup for Michigan today, is it not, Andy Katz?
That's right, Tim. And talking to the Michigan staff at the team hotel, their number one concern is they don't want to get bullied by Bruno Fernando of Maryland. And talking to the Maryland staff just before tip-off, they look at Bruno Fernando as really the catalyst for why this team is in position to possibly win the Big Ten. He not only is a force on the court, but he also mentors Jalen Smith, who's known as Sticks. Maryland with a great chance to maybe win the Big Ten, and he could be the player of the year. Back to you, Tim.
As you look at our starting lineups, I want to center in on the backcourt. Cowan and Ayala, a dynamite tandem for Maryland. And, of course, Xavier Simpson is a guy that really stirs the drink for this Michigan team. Our officials, an outstanding veteran crew, Bo Borowski, Larry Scarrato, and Courtney Green. And those lineups sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Number of students out of breast cancer awareness are wearing pink today. And the opening tap is controlled to the Wolverines.
And the pace, the communication is going to be paramount for the Terrapins early on. You see Jordan Poole go down the lane because this Michigan team has multiple movements on their offensive end. You can get lost sometimes if you don't communicate often and early.
Teske, there is some concern about potential foul difficulty with him today. There's the dump down to Sticks. Great help defense that time from Iggy, and Brazdeikis on the other end. Good ball movement to Simpson. They struggled from the perimeter in the loss to Penn State. They hope the iron is kind today.
And I love the fact that Xavier Simpson didn't think about it. The pass was on time. He just stepped in, squared up his shoulders, able to knock in that open three.
Turnover. Poole with the outlet. What a pass to Iggy. Little strong. As you look at Mark Turgeon, what a job he's done now in his 8th season at Maryland. Really loves this team and their development. Keeps talking about how much they keep getting better.
Well, and that's something you want to see. Now, offensively, they've gotten better, but where they've really taken that next step for a young team is on the defensive end. They were 40th in the country in defense efficiency a while ago. Now they're up to 16. That's a commitment that you want to see if you're a coach.
And you see Teske all alone in his task right now. No double down. And Fernando takes it right at him. Can't get it to go. Well defended by the big fella.
And at that time, Fernando had his left hand, but he chose to get back to that left shoulder and right hook. And it didn't work on that possession.
Teske, he can hit that shot. This one goes crying off the front iron, and it's pulled away by Jalen Smith. The outstanding young freshman talent. There's so many of them, 4 that have made such a difference for this edition of the Terps. It starts right here in that backcourt, too, with the development of Ayala to go along with Anthony Cowan. Shot clock winding down for AC. A leaner off the heel, pulled down by Teske.
Really good half-court defense that time by the Wolverines, cutting off driving lanes.
There's Iggy again. Look out if Brazdeikis gets it going. Six to nothing Michigan.
And that's what you want for Iggy, because coming off of 6 points, 3 or 4 against Penn State. You want to see him get in early, the offense, get into a rhythm because he's so dynamic to get to going.
Jalen Smith off the bounce pass entry from Anthony Cowan, and it's 6-2. Maryland gets on the board.
And that's this experience from Cowan. The ability to take the extra dribble, to get in position, to get the feed down to Sticks inside with a nice layup.
That was a nickname, by the way, I never got.
Oh, no.
Never got that one. Here's Matthews. Tough shot. And the Kentucky transfers in the scoring column. 8-2 Michigan.
I tell you what, last weekend against Wisconsin, when Charles Matthews kind of got his rhythm back, that carried over to Penn State when he had 24 points, and he's so dynamic when he gets it going.
Ayala not there. Resdegas fighting for it, and then over the back goes against Jalen Smith. As you look at John Beeline, by the way, we've got him mic'd up today. He's giving us a little additional access. You'll hear from him as the game goes on. Now in his 12th year, has never been an assistant coach and had not been thrown out of a game in 26 years at Erie Community College, a JC school. Back in 1980, he was tossed at halftime of the Penn State game when he took umbrage to a very massive pick that was made by Penn State. He plans to stay eligible for the entire game today.
Yeah, I mean, the only time he really was an assistant coach was USA Basketball.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's unbelievable.
Resdegas can't get that one to fall. Ayala with a quick outlet to Cowan. Fernando not there. Lindo just into the game, tried to keep it alive. Matthews! Hello! How do you do? Michigan leads by 8.
Jimmy B, Michigan is so tough once they get out in transition, and Charles Matthews, the explosive speed, able to get out in front of the Terrapin defense to hammer in there too.
Every starter, Jim, for Michigan so far has already taken a shot. And another turnover for Maryland.
Listen, this Michigan team ready to go. Out early, 57% shooting. The Wolverines, afternoon, up 8.
Fox College Hoops is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, your first-round pick for car insurance. Our score here at Chrysler, 10-2. Michigan with the lead. John Beeline mic'd up.
I think there's different freshmen, I've been telling people. Like we had this team in 13 where Glenn Robinson, Nick Stauskas, they're all ready to play. Karis LeVert, Mo Wagner, they weren't ready to play. They all ended up being good players.
I mean, conversation about the young fellas. I mean, this Maryland team boasts the best freshman class ahead of Michigan this year. And you talk about some young men are ready to play right away. Some develop a little bit later. And we see that, you know, with the Maryland team. I know Iggy is going kind of through his ups and downs, but that comes from a coach that has kind of been done that before.
No doubt. That's the first thing that jumped into my head was the affection that John has for the circumstances that Turgeon is in this year. So young, so soon. Most coaches want to get old and stay old. Teske with an air ball. There's Iggy again, picking up some loose change, and it's 12-2.
And sometimes when you're struggling with your shot, you got to figure out ways to manufacture points. I thought Iggy knocking down that three was huge for his confidence, but how about him seeking out that offensive rebound, able to get an easy two inside?
Maryland big struggling early, a collective 1 of 4. Now Fernando, the jump hook again, bothered by Teske. I think he got the memo defensively. Matthews again, sprinting down the floor. Timeout, Maryland. Jimmy, let's take a look at our Geico players to watch. Some you've already seen.
Well, it's the two big fellas inside, Bruno Fernando and John Teske. Let me tell you something. Bruno would prefer to kind of take Teske off the dribble. We've seen early in this game John Teske's ability to influence shots inside. He may not block it, but he'll influence it And you talking about it being an influencer, Charles Matthews. I mean, I've always loved the way he plays the game with so much heart, so much desire. Now that he's back in his offensive element, out in transition, knocking down jump shots, I think that only catapults this Michigan team, because now that gives you another scorer that you can count on, especially late game situations.
You know, Charles's development in a lot of ways, personally, as well as his game, goes back to a class that he took with the old sports information mogul here, Bruce Made. Independent study, a history of college athletics, but more importantly, he learned to be more open and enjoy the opportunities that he had with the media. John U. Bacon, also a best-selling author, worked with Chris as well as with Xavier Simpson to help them, and boy, when you talk to them, they're so engaging.
Well, it's part of what you become as a leader. You know, part of being a leader, too, is how do you communicate with each individual on the court? Because on your team, everybody's different, you know, and how do you accept criticism? You know, but a lot of it has to how you communicate and are you open to these type of conversations.
Trojan with his staff. You see among his assistants there, Kevin Brodus, outstanding player in his own right back in the day. There's a leaner by Cowan. Comes up short. Simpson's on the move with that head always up. Poole on the wing. Last touched by Michigan. Brandon Johns just into the game. The freshman from East Lansing went over the top, and it was his mitt that got it.
Well, no, right there.
Yeah, it looked as though perhaps Johns to the official, but you're right, it was tapped out. They don't go and look at it until we're under the 2-minute mark.
Yeah. Michigan just has been more physical on the defensive end.
From work inside, Joshua Tomajic was the young man that got his big mitt on that one on the way up. He just checked into the game, number 0 for Maryland.
Well, Jalen Smith, he's done an excellent job of positioning his body inside. Again, he did his work early, felt Razdakis knew the baseline was open, and he may be thin, but he absorbed the contact on that one. Timmy got himself to the free throw line.
Really struggling on both from the floor and now even at the line. Maryland down by 10. Smith, by the way, does have 2 out of 3. The rest of the team for Maryland 0 for 6. 6.5 minutes gone by in the opening half. Tomajic comes out with a show and then hurries back to cover up the baseline. Livers has to give it up. Up against the clock, Matthews will have to solo. That's an outstanding defensive sequence for Maryland.
Well, and keep in mind, I think the Maryland fans are kind of accustomed to Maryland, this team starting off slow.
Yep.
And I thought it was really cool because Turgeon, Coach Turgeon, when we were talking to him before, you asked him about the slow start.
Andy did, actually. Here's Simpson with a pilfer and the deuce. And you're right. All Turge could say was, oh, look, I'm just worried about the way we finish.
Yeah, that's right. He said, my guys are not worried about it. We figured out ways to kind of get our momentum going, especially in the second half.
Smith. Offensive rebound, Cowan triggers it out. 4 reinforcements on the floor. Aaron Wiggins, one of them. And there's the dump down and a walk by Tomajic.
That also was due to the rotation, okay? That caused the turnover by Tomajic right there inside. Again, excellent backline rotation. Again, it goes back to the communication defensively.
After that performance against Penn State, it's clear, and we were at yesterday's practice, Coach Beilein certainly had his team's attention. They had a statement to make today, and so far they have done that.
Well, Penn State is not an easy place to play.
That's no question.
Pat Chambers' teams will pressure you. They force a lot of turnover. And to that fact, excellent pass inside.
And a foul inside. I think Ayala will get it as he was in that mismatch with Teskey.
Xavier Simpson had 6 turnovers. I mean, that's just too many. But that last play, when you have a guy like John Teskey that can set screens and pick and pop, when you run the pick and roll in the middle of the court and you have shooter spread, it's hard now to help. And that's what we saw, and that's how Teskey got open.
Here are 3 things that you need to know about John Teskey. I love that first trophy Little League. I think that's true for a lot of us. I love that answer. Who played me in a movie? You got to find a 7-footer.
Big sleep, huh? Well, listen, he may have been that last year, but he's putting in some work at 2.2 blocks per game, leading the Big Ten.
Yeah. Mo Wagner and a few of his old friends are here today. Well, with the NBA All-Star break coming, some Michigan greats are here, so that also adds some intensity to this Michigan team today. Matthews on a post-up. Tough pass to make that time in traffic. Well, Maryland will have it when we come back. Michigan off to a great start. Coach Turgeon can only shake his head for now. Well, it's sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. 16-4, Michigan out to a great start. Let's go inside the huddle with Mark Turgeon.
Now we're at least moving the ball. I didn't love your shot either, though. Josh, just go up and dunk the ball, man. Okay, now we got our bodies moving. You're hard to guard. We'll give what we want. Okay, but make sure we get 2 guys back and spread our butts back.
Bottom line, doing a better job of not going one-on-one.
Yep,
okay,
right.
Move the ball, move your body, you get good shots. But when we miss, we got to get our tandems back in transition, because right now, if you look at fast break points, it's 6-0. So that comes from having an unbalanced defensive presence once the shot goes up for the Terrapins.
Well, as they like to say in today's vernacular, let's get real. They've missed 5 short bunnies in the paint, and I think what he's trying to do also is keep his team's confidence up. Again, you're still coaching young players, even though it's later in the season.
Well, he said take it through him and dunk it. And a lot of it, again, is Teskey down low. You kind of see him in your rearview mirror. Another turnover here.
That's the problem. That's the problem, is Maryland's been really lazy with the ball. Lindo counted and one. This youngster, freshman from Washington's Woodrow Wilson, is probably as much a part of the future as any of these freshmen.
Well, excellent pass right here inside from Wiggins, and Lindo able to create a turnover after turning it over themselves.
A little return to sender as the Terrapins get a steal and a dunk. Turgeon loves coaching Lindo. He'll do really anything. Sort of an old school player to work with.
I don't think it's a freshman that he has right now that he doesn't love to coach, because they're attentive. They want to learn. They want to get better. And really, the thing that he said that kind of stands out, he said, listen, none of them have ego in regards to who needs to be the man. They all want to grow together. So that's a great building block to have if you're Coach Turgeon.
Simpson to the corner to the wide open Livers. Well, the assist numbers go up when the shots are being knocked down, and they are today. They weren't the other night in Happy Valley.
Again, the excellent ball movement by the Wolverines opens up opportunities. As you see the freeze right here, all this is open, so it's going to attract all the eyes, and you've got great spacing to get it open. Now you're able to knock in that shot.
Lead is 13 now. 10.5 remaining in the opening 20. Livers not to be. Fernando clears. Morsel, who's really played well of late. Strong complementary player, giving it up.
They're looking for Fernando on Livers inside.
You can take away touches from him, and so far Michigan has. You're in some trouble.
Well, part of it begins with perimeter defense, because if you put pressure on the passer, even if Fernando has inside presence,
Eli
you can't get it to him.
Eli Brooks comes up empty. Another near peak steal. Ball is on the deck. Look out, because Matthews is playing snowbird. He sensed that turnover about to happen and snuck out and was available as soon as Michigan corralled the turnover.
And that was all Xavier Simpson up top. by plucking the ball from behind. Now that created the scramble. Michigan able to come up with it once again out in transition for another easy basket.
Well, look at how active Livers is down there checking Fernando. And he can't get one to go. And now with the help, Simpson gets the reach-in foul.
You want to make amends for a loss. And turning the ball over 6 times, Xavier Simpson is so active on the defensive end, and Livers heads up. Little quarterback right there. Huh?
Yeah.
Nice little dime. But you know, one thing Fernando has to do, you can tell he loves to get over his left-hand shoulder and shoot that little jump hook, because he's had the baseline open to finish with his left. But when he makes the move, he always comes back to the middle. And that time, that's where the help is coming from.
And Matthews is having a magnificent start. 8 points for Matthews, and that's an 8-6 win for him personally over Maryland as a team. Fernando has checked out of the game. Now you see the dribble drive, nicely done by Morsel, who we just mentioned, the sophomore from Baltimore's St. Joseph. Mount St. Joseph gets the bucket. Razdakis. Rebound by Lindo. Cowan scoots it up to Ayala. Morsel, good dish inside, but the reversal won't go.
Guess who? Guess who was around?
Yeah.
Teskey. I mean, you get down, Morsel was able to get down the lane, but the big body of Teskey was there once again.
And he hasn't picked up a foul either.
He's smart. You know what's funny? You see a little secondary break here by Maryland. You think you could blow by John Teskey, and they've tried it, but he does an excellent job of moving his feet.
Yeah.
And using angles.
Smith with a quick trigger from deep, can't get it to go. Maryland stone cold, 0 for 4 from downtown.
If you're Maryland, you just need to get a couple of defensive stops, feel good about yourself, put the ball in the basket, but that is an excellent move that time.
It was everything but the finish for Iggy that time. Cowan may need to call his own number a little bit more too.
I'd like to see him in a little bit more pick and roll scenarios to free himself up and see if he can turn the corner.
This guy can help him. Ayala's a tough matchup.
There's Teskey again.
Yeah, he is.
Again.
Lindo, boy, a lot of body there. A lot of body. Livers with the dunk to finish. He started it, and what a finish.
Timmy B, when you're tuned in, locked in on defense, John Teskey, let me get this party started with the block, and then out in transition, Poole to Livers for 2, Michigan rolling.
Fox College Hoops is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Our score, Michigan up 23-8. John Beeline mic'd up.
That'll work, baby. That'll work. That's the way to run the lane. That's the way to run the lane. When it's fun to run, it's fun to run. When it crash the boards, baby. When it crash the boards. You're going to get open for more threes, too.
Listen, it's important for Coach Beeline to show the energy and passion, especially with an early game. And he understands what this game means and the positioning of where Michigan is at right now. With a 3-way tie at the top of the race, one thing you can have coming off of a loss is another one here in Chrysler Center. You just can't have it.
Yeah. Andy Katz was in the Maryland huddle.
Well, thank you, Tim. Mark Turgeon was stressing to Bruno Fernando and Anthony Cowan. Look, guys, you guys are incredibly frustrated, but you cannot do this alone. You've got to work together. And on the defensive side, he says, look, we're just getting crushed on transition defense. They can't score against our half court. It's the transition that's killing us. Back to you guys.
All right, Fernando in 8 minutes, 0 for 4, no points and a turnover. He was 14 of 20, 70% in the last 3 games coming in. Cowan gets the bucket, was also begging Borowski for a foul to go with it. He's still telling him about it.
Well, that time Cowan was able to now get some action coming off the baseline, trail off the screen. Now he found a little daylight, even though he got touched a little bit, able to still knock it in.
Wow, Teskey turned down a shot. Poole, not there. At yesterday's practice, Beeline scolded Teskey for not looking for good shots in the post area. He said, we need you. Your team needs you. Look for your shot when you get it there. Well, this weekend, college basketball teaming with Autism Speaks to raise awareness, understanding, and acceptance of autism, which affects 1 in 68 children in the United States. Coaches, broadcasters like us, and officials are wearing Autism Speaks blue puzzle piece pins. Learn more by visiting autismspeaks.org/coaches. Simpson got the foul, his second for Michigan. And now Fernando turns it over again. That's his second of the day. End to end, Matthews the trailer. Nice defensive work there by Jalen Smith. But another pick as Matthews claims the offensive rebound. Teskey a step back three.
And that time Teskey was kind of falling back a little bit. Hence, when you do that, you end up coming up a little short.
It's interesting. He'll take that three.
Didn't take the layup,
but
right?
won't take the layup on the baseline.
But that's feeling comfortable and knowing where you're at on the court and being confident that you can shoot the basketball. And you see another turnover right here.
Morcell, just too much on it.
Yes.
You know, if you have 15 or 16 turnovers, that's what Mark told us in pregame. It's going to be hard for us to get out of here with a win. If we can limit our turnovers to 6 or 7, we'll be fine. Well, they're already at 9. And we've still got 5 and change remaining in the opening half.
Well, this is where you need Anthony Cowan to kind of step up. I know he's not the most vocal player, probably Eric Ayala is, but because he's the leader of the team, when things start to go astray, that's where you want to lean on Cowan's leadership to kind of bring the guys back together, because there's still a lot of time in this game, especially in this first half, to make a run.
Wow, what a move there. Beautifully done by DeJulius. That's the freshman just into the game. Only 6 points in 14 games this year. Right into the game, and Beeline has got to be happy with what he sees from this kid. 25-10. Cowan bothered by the freshman DeJulius, and he'll pick up the foul as a result.
Well, you'll take this all day from DeJulius. Able to come in off the bench, provide some quality minutes. Now, listen, this is almost like the little running half hook for Xavier Simpson a little bit. You know what I mean? I know Simpson is loving it. But where he's also going to give you some effort is on the defensive end. I know he picked up the foul right there, but he's strong, he's quick, trying to keep Cowan in front of him.
Well, you find a freshman that suddenly starts getting minutes for you late. Could be a real difference. Michigan not known for being tremendously deep. This kid can help them.
Well, it gives you a chance to rest Xavier Simpson so he can be fresh down the stretch of the game, along with Eli Brooks. You know?
Johns, strong move. Did everything but complete it. Maryland with 3 turnovers in the last 3 trips. There's another one. Make that 4 in their last 4. And he stepped out of bounds. Jordan Poole just lost sight of where he was on the floor.
Maryland basketball.
You know, Maryland, if you look at their team, it's guard-laden in so many ways, and yet they have not protected the ball. And Cowan and Ayala together, you think, for Mark, who's an old guard and loves to have confidence in his guards, this has been a nightmare start.
Yeah, but for a guard like that, Mark playing that position, he understands the value of taking care of the basketball. And I know it's eating him up inside. He just has to calm his team down, and he can do that and make a move and get Wiggins a shot.
Well, they now have more points than turnovers after that bucket. 13 for Maryland, 11 turnovers to go along with the 13 points. They're really fortunate to be down only 12.
Well, if they can take that possession and mirror that multiple times, now you got dribble penetration, quick passes, open shot, you're able to knock it in. That's the offense we used to see from Maryland.
Yeah, Matthews had that wing out and hooked his man, so he'll pick up the foul. That is number 2 on Charles Matthews. Tough sledding early for the road team in the Big Ten. Under the radar, and I'll take it another step and say an injustice, really. Nevada, Sweet 16 a year ago. Coach Musselman, they're 23-1. You never hear about them. Kelvin Sampson's team's 24-1, beat LSU at home, who's unbeaten on the road in the SEC. No one hears about him. How about the job Weber has done at Kansas State, 19-5? It's that team from Kansas that's in the catbird seat to win the Big 12. No one hears of them until we get to, I don't know, Selection Sunday. It's time these teams get some press.
Well, you know what? Their press will come once they get to the tournament.
Well, that's the shame.
And win some games. But that's the product of what we love to glorify the big conference.
Yeah,
indeed. You know that.
Yep. Wiggins knocks it down.
And how about Maryland right here?
Yep.
Again, the offensive set, the ball movement. Now you find yourself with a high percentage shot that you're able to knock in. Again, you're only down 9 points right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay?
It should be worse.
Exactly. So you got to feel good about yourself if you're the Terrapins that, another defensive stop, some more possessions that you can go into halftime. Feeling good about the second half, but you got to close it out.
This is a personal Wiggins 6-0 run for the Terps. Big Ten basketball sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee here today at Chrysler Center with first place on the line in the Big Ten.
Watch the old pick and roll right here. And Cowan does an excellent job of delaying and waiting, and once Sticks is able to get down the lane, that just opens up the jump shot for Wiggins. Again, the patience of Cowan to allow the pick to happen frees up Wiggins ultimately for that swing pass back for three.
Well, listen, it's no surprise to Mark Turgeon that Aaron Wiggins is helping his team come out of this slump. He's really played well of late.
I like him. He's long, he's athletic, he has the confidence. And speaking about confidence, Isaiah Livers gives you a little bit of a different post player when he gets inside, because his ability to be able to go off the bounce. And then if he doesn't have a shot, Timmy B, he can make a play with the pass.
Well, in one day, the greatest event in motorsports, in fact, that Daytona 500 kicks off the 2019 NASCAR season tomorrow, 2:30 Eastern. Hudden. It's the pre-race beginning at 1 p.m. only on Fox.
Have you been Daytona 500? Have you been?
You know, I've not. It's a bucket lister for me. I need to make it there. Jalen Smith. Something about that basketball season always gets in the way.
Yeah, I know. You know what? The closest I've been is Indy 500, but I haven't been. You know why I was there? They have a golf course, and they have some holes inside.
Imagine that.
The racetrack. That's the closest I've got.
And alley-oop leads to yet another opportunity for Michigan off a turnover. 13 turnovers now committed by the Maryland Terrapins today. 15 or 16 was sort of the limit for the game, according to their coach. DeJulius, a stop and pop, and the rebound by Lindo.
Not a chance for the Terps to cut this lead under 10. A minute and a half left to go in the first half.
Well, wouldn't you agree they'd be very fortunate to have a 9-point deficit the way they played?
Most definitely.
There's Cowan off the dribble handoff. Great pass, stripped away by Brasdeikis. Smith, and Teskey finally picks one up. He finally gets a foul inside, and the turnovers have been a killer.
Well, when you have 10 early in this, 6 turnovers for 10 points for Michigan, it just stymies your momentum from an offensive perspective. Never in rhythm early. A lot were unforced, but a lot were caused by the activity of the Wolverines early in this game.
This young man, Jalen Smith, in the last few games in the second half, he was 7 of 15 in the game against Purdue when they came from behind, had an unbelievable second half. But he's taken more shots in the last 2 games, 16 against Nebraska, 15 against Purdue, than any other 2-game stretch this season. So as his game comes to 4, it only helps Bruno Fernando, who's now sitting on the bench, needing a little help from his friends.
Well, it's just like with Livers and Teskey. They complement each other because one can step outside while the other is the brute inside. And when Jalen Smith is active, he uses that long frame to create opportunities. He just opens up more space for Fernando to be more effective down low.
Livers with a ball fake. Gives it up to Teskey. Not there. Pulled down off the front rim by Lindo, who has helped this team since coming in.
Teskey has to get his legs into a shot a little bit more because he's been short, falling back but not getting elevation, hence hindering the shot a little bit.
Cowan alley-ooping inside for Jalen Smith. And Sticks is rejected again. Livers comes over to provide the help this time. The lack of brawn for Jalen Smith is noteworthy whenever he gets the ball down on the low block. The thickness of Teskey and the help that he's getting from Livers has been a problem for him. Well, we touched on first place and a potential championship of the regular season at stake with today's game, a major contribution. There you see the standings. You know, Michigan State went through that troubling 3-game loss, and they'll play Ohio State.
Well, you know, it's interesting down the stretch, okay? Maryland is still there.
Yes.
Okay, because they beat Purdue in their only game.
Right.
Okay, but they lost. They didn't lose to Michigan State. But here's the thing. Michigan State and Michigan still have to play each other twice.
Absolutely. And Purdue, everybody else has a stacked schedule. Purdue does not. They do not have a ranked team in the conference left to play. Our guys in the studio, I think Steve Lavin was touching on that, and he's so accurate. Now look, schedule makers do what they need to do within the conference because they know when the eyeballs shift to college basketball, and that's right now. One of the reasons why Duke plays Carolina twice after February the 20th. Exactly. Same is true in the Big Ten, and that really works against some of the blue blood teams in this conference, notably Michigan and Michigan State, probably the favorites.
Well, you think about this. Right now, the league, can you win the Big Ten Conference with 4 wins? I mean, 4 losses? Probably. You may end up with 5. But that gives Maryland an opportunity because they still got to play, you know, games at home that I think are, you know, Michigan still at home. I mean, on the road in Iowa, but they got Michigan at home. Okay, so there's still an outside chance if they take care of business, but it has to start today. You know, you got to win this game right now if you're Maryland.
Well, that quick foul was given to Morcell, his first. 5 seconds was the differential. Now after the foul, shot clock off. So Michigan can hold it for 1. Poole will do it himself, it appears.
Morcell, excellent defense.
Oh, outstanding defense. Well, that will help Maryland's feelings to be only down 9 after a horrible first half, shooting under 30% with 13 turnovers.
Well, Daryl Morcell took the challenge the other evening against Carson Edwards, only held him to like 2 to 4 points in the second half. And now he's doing the same thing in regards to, let me guard the guy on the court. I want to guard the best offensive player. Great job at the end of the half that time.
Let's go over to Andy Katz.
All right, thank you, Tim. John, in what way did you implore your players to take it right to Maryland to start this game?
Well, I think we learned a lot from our last game, and that we ended up just not really, you know, taking it to Penn State when we played them, and they took it right at us. And I think we've learned a very valuable lesson. You can't win in the Big Ten if you're going to be playing like this, right? I mean, we have to stand in, build walls, draw lines in the sand, and don't let them go across them.
Thanks, John.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Coach Beeline with a little choreography, a step back in the middle of the interview. Coming up, we'll send you to Rob Stone in LA for the Jeep Grand Cherokee halftime report. It's coming up right after this. You're watching College Hoops on Fox.
That'll work, baby. That'll work. That's the way to run the lane. That's the way to run the lane. Tough pass to throw there, right? Tough pass. And it's fun to run. It's fun to run. I like that. Hey, I like your center in the ball. Just a lot of people around. Sit down. Easy. Back. Back out. Look up. Look up. Way to hustle there. Way to hustle.
It's Big Ten basketball, and it's sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Our score at halftime, 27-18. Michigan shutting down the Maryland Terrapins. Tim Brando, Jim Jackson, Andy Katz you'll hear from shortly. And really, the big man showdown hasn't shown up in the first half.
Well, I mean, it's more imperative that Fernando scored for Maryland and Teskey for Michigan. But Teskey has done his job defensively. The thing about Fernando is don't overthink the situation. You're getting great post-up position. Just finish the shot inside. Don't outthink yourself.
As you look at our Jeep Grand Cherokee first half stats, I think it's noteworthy. 3 of 15 from downtown for Michigan. I think they fell in love with the deep shot. when perhaps they should have gone inside a little bit more. Otherwise, they'd be leading by a larger margin. Here with more is Andy Katz.
All right, thank you, Tim. I just walked quickly on the court with Mark Turgeon. He said, first of all, too many turnovers. John Teskey's been amazing, but to get nothing out of Bruno Fernando and only be down 9 at the half, he told me it's amazing. They've been a second-half team. We'll see if they can do that today. Back to you, Tim.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think he sat him primarily, Jim, because the physicality of the game got into Bruno's head, and he wanted to rid that of him so he could come out fresh for the second 20 minutes.
Well, think about this. Maryland's offense got up 24 shots, okay? Michigan got up 32. But when you turn it over and you have 6 of those turnovers, now you're limiting yourself the opportunities to get shots at the rim, because when they execute it with precision, they got some good shots. So let's see the plan of attack for the Terrapins as we start the second half.
You've got 13 turnovers to only 7 field goals, and you're only down by 9 on the road in the Big Ten at this place. You're fortunate. Poole is bumped by Marcel, picks up the foul.
Well, speaking of Bruno Fernando, here it is. I'm going to show you an example. He has the left hand right there, but chooses to come back right, okay? Once again, left hand, he comes back right. Don't overthink it. Utilize the skill set you have. A lot of times, Bruno is so accustomed to overpowering his opponents that he can just bully his way in. You can't do that to Teskey. You got to use your mind with quickness, move Teskey side to side, and now exploit that and get to the rim.
That is the first made free throw of the day for Michigan. That was a lightning fast first half. Very few fouls.
Well,
and I think to some extent that bothered Fernando because he got bumped around quite a bit and didn't like it very much.
Well, he's used to initiating a lot of contact, but both teams, I thought, did a good job of sliding and moving their feet. What they didn't do is bail out their opponents if they got beat by reaching.
Here's Fernando working on Teskey as advertised. Gets this one to go.
But it was a quick move. He used his left shoulder to put it right in the middle of the chest of Teskey, and then that created the space to get the jump hook open, free, and clean.
Did you hear the big sigh of relief from Mark Turgeon?
Oh, yeah. You can hear it over here.
All the way over here.
It wasn't as big as Fernando, though, I can tell you that. Yeah. I've been there when you struggle before. You just want to get that first one to go down.
Razdakis not there. Matthews the offensive rebound and a clock recycle. Matthews gets it back. Off the back iron. Pulled down by Ayala. Out to Cowan.
Have to see if Mark Turgeon runs some more of those baseline actions to get Cowan open so he can get going.
Fernando lost it again. Matthews on a run out. Well, how many more times can that happen to Maryland?
Well, here's an issue. That time their offense was flattened out. What I mean is that you had 5 guys below the free throw line when Fernando made his move. Hence, you didn't have the balance back in transition. Charles Matthews just outran everybody.
Cowan off the curl.
There it is.
Yeah, that young man can call his own number anytime he wants. He chose not to in the first half.
Well, unselfish to a fault at times because he possesses the skill set to take over a game.
Yeah,
and we've seen it in the past.
Absolutely. He can go all Carson Edwards on you if you don't watch out. Oh, what a wraparound super Sunday best dish from Xavier Simpson to Teskey.
And how about the patience that time by Simpson? 1, 2, 3 dribbles to stretch the defense. And that time Teskey able to get inside, free himself up.
The lead is 10. 2.5 gone here in the second. Cowan again off that curl. Look out. Look out. AC gets going. And you're going to have to pump more of it into this building because he'll cool the jets of a lot of Michigan faithful.
Well, by moving around, that takes away the physical nature of Simpson on a smaller Cowan, okay? Now he's able to free himself up.
Simpson, a runner. Another takeaway by Matthews. He's perpetual motion. Razdakis lost it, and I think Marcel may have picked up his 3rd foul, and he did.
If you're the Terrapins, this is what you want to see. Quick move, initiate the contact, back Teskey up, and now you get it in. The baseline action, Cowan able to square himself up, and then Teskey doing what he does best, create space inside, set the screen. The screener always seems to get open. And once again, Cowan, the baseline action, he's getting hot, baby.
What Ayala allows him to do away from the ball is special, because that's his favorite shot, running that curl action.
Well, Ayala, because he can stretch the defense has to honor that. And stretching the defense is what Brad Davis was able to do right there. But when you have a compliment guard like that can score and shoot, now you can't help off of him as much after the pass, because you have to stay locked and loaded to him, because he can knock down those shots.
The smooth southpaw from Ontario. Oh, my! What a hammer! What a delivery, too! Wiggins gets it inside to the brawn of Bruno, and he slams it home. Oh, man. How good was that?
Well, a little will play got Bruno open, and not a lot of pressure on the passer.
Matthews again fading away. He's feeling it. He is feeling it today. He has been the most valuable Wolverine. He's got a dozen, and it's 38-28.
He's going about his business. A couple offensive rebounds. Gets in position to knock in shots. That's the versatility of Charles Matthews.
Terrapins are 4 for 4 from the floor in this half, but haven't made up any ground because of the turnovers and Matthews making plays on the other end. Bruno, count it. Fernando has come out smoking here in the second. He's got 6. It was nada in 10 minutes of playing time in the first half.
I guarantee you this Coach Surgeon got in his ear. But I bet you more importantly his teammates got into Fernando's ears and said, we need you, big fella, this half.
Teskey misses a bunny inside. Well, Matthews was going after that one, too. Cowan and Fernando combined for 12 of the points this half. And that's going to be a foul on Teskey as we go to break.
Well, you want to get your big fella happy and motivated? Throw it to the rim. He's able to get inside after setting the screen. And actually, telling Teskey, baby, this business is not personal.
Look for Johnny. Let's go. Lockdown on D. Lockdown on D. Woo! Yeah, shoot it in, baby. Shoot it in. Baby.
Our score here in the second half with an energized John Beilein, 38-30. And how about Bruno Fernando coming out guns a-blazing here in the second?
A little prep talk, from his teammates, but the ability for him to make quick moves, quick decisions have allowed him to be much more successful and accurate in the second half. And you can see right now the difference with the movement he has on the court. But how about Cowan and Fernando? Combined 2 points in the first half. 12 already in the second half for those shoots.
A combined 5 out of 5 from the floor. And what they have to do is now get some stops on the other end, and all of a sudden this is every bit the game we thought it might be. And a little hook action going on, and Johns Jr. will pick up the foul as the second half numbers on Cowan and Fernando. Look at that, goose eggs early, 6 and 6. And perfect from the floor here in the second.
No, that's what you expect from your leaders. They closed the first half with a little momentum and opened that up in the second half. Inch only down 8 with a chance to cut it once again.
Johns trying to front Fernando. What a baseline step around. And it draws yet another foul. And that really should be the case, particularly if Teskey is on the deck. If he's not out there, then he should have a free baseline to attack the 10.
But what you want to do for Johns is, if you're going to play him baseline to give it up, you want to creep in a little bit more, because when you want him to make that spin move but toe out of bounds line. And don't give him enough space to get back. Actually, you'd rather push him to his left a little bit, because he's not as comfortable going to his left hand as he is going right.
I love the really different styles. And there you see again Bruno doing what he does best once he gets that entry pass. The contrasting styles of these two should make for a dynamite second half.
Definitely.
Raz Davis looking to drive baseline. A little too strong with that one. Pulled out of there by Wiggins. Cowan turned one down. Yet got an open look. Ayala from deep. The iron unkind for the first time in the second. They were 6 of 6 before that miss. That's going to be a block. Foul goes against the Terrapins and Aaron Wiggins.
Watch the spin move to the baseline again, getting back to his strong and most comfortable hand, which is on the right side. And it is what you do. When John Terry comes right back in the game, you go right at it. Okay? And then in transition, Brad Dacus takes it to the middle. Actually, he had Charles Matthews in the corner. A little touch pass would have been open for a 3, but was able to pick up the foul.
Simpson triggers it into Matthews, who's been dynamic today. On both ends of the floor, number 1 has been outstanding. Testy. All of those today have
been short.
Gone crying off the front rim.
Yeah, you know, again, I'm going to go back to the legs. His body is not squared up down low, and that's where your shot begins. It's with your lower body. And right now, it's not up underneath it.
Jim, I'll go back to that stat. They were 3 of 15. They're now 4 of 19. They've sort of fallen in love, Michigan, with the 3, haven't they?
Well, they've had some open shots, and you can't fault them at that because that is their game. In regards to opening up, you see it over the back foul here. So you can't fault them with that because they are getting some good looks.
Smith gets that foul. It's his second.
His second personal foul. Team's 4th.
But just again, going back to watch this game as it's played out, Maryland has finally gotten lathered up here in the second half. In the first, for them to be, as Turgeon told Andy Katz at halftime, it's a miracle to be only down by 9. Nice dribble drive for the Deuce.
And because Teskey can shoot a little outside jump shot, when Poole got inside the lane, Fernando was caught in between. Do I stop the drive? Do I stay at home? And when you do that, you freeze yourself. That opened it up a lot more for Poole to finish inside.
That was his first deuce of the day. And another Maryland turnover. Speaking of bullish, how about academic ambition, sponsored by SoFi? Get your money right. And general studies, his literature work has been outstanding. The hobby going to the Humane Society, and his career goal is to make a difference. It's an outstanding outlook for that young man to have.
Well, he's made a big difference on this Michigan team in regards to his growth from averaging single digits to now 13 points this year, shooting the ball a lot better.
What was it Beeline said of him? He told the media famously that Poole, after last year's big win and that shot against Houston, was on an overdose of swag. I love that. Matthews, a fadeaway. Cowan takes the rebound down off the deck. Little motion. Beautifully done by Aaron Wiggins. Boy, is this kid from Greensboro, North Carolina, and Wesleyan Christian coming alive of late. A real difference maker for the Terrapins. He's got 8. Poole with a mismatch. Takes Cowan inside. Does draw the foul. Timeout. 11:25 remaining. The Terrapins are fighting back against Michigan on Fox.
They're going isolation on us is what they're doing a lot. We got to isolate. We got to gap. Don't give up threes, but we got to sit down and guard him. He wants to go to this left hook. So when he's going this way, he's going to his left. He's going to his hook.
Coach knows it. I mean, sit down defensively, but it starts before Fernando can get deep position inside. But also, I'm going to go back to this. The guy guarding the passer has to put pressure on him so he can't get a clear line pass right inside to Fernando.
Andy Katz was in the Maryland huddle.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Tim, it was a much different attitude in there. Mark Turgeon kept telling him, keep the pressure on. He said, at the next time out, I want to see this lead down to 4. Back to you, Tim.
Well, the Terrapins had 7 field goals the entire first half, Andy. They already have 7 this half. So a much better start, more fluidity to their offense without question.
Well, this Michigan team, listen, they haven't lost back-to-back games since 2017. I think it was against Michigan State and Ohio State, okay?
Right.
February 4th, I think it was. So they're going to be focused and ready to play. But I like what Maryland is doing in the second half in regards to attacking by moving the ball, shifting the defense, finding gaps, and now finding open opportunities.
And now the confidence of the big fella is up. That was a tough shot, but he actually threw it to himself, didn't he? And he gets a foul from Testy. A little frustrated with the, oh, by the way, slam afterwards. And a big second half for this kid.
Well, Aaron Wiggins, one of the unsung heroes on this team that's steadily developing his offensive game. He's long, he's athletic, he's able to get to the basket. A beautiful stroke from the perimeter. Coming off 11 points against Purdue on 4-6 field goals, 3 rebounds, and 17 minutes off the bench. Feeling confident.
By the way, Brandon Johns, who's only played sparingly when Teskey was out, picked up 3 fouls because of this man right here. And now John Teskey, who had gone without a foul into the final seconds of the first half, has already picked up 2 more here in the second. So now he plays with 3, as does Johns. And that had to be the matchup concern coming in. Michigan has little help beyond Johns on the low post to deal with Fernando. Simpson.
Great defense that time by Fernando, moving his feet on a quicker Simpson.
Poole a step back. Rebound to Lindo.
And Coach John Beilein wasn't particularly happy with that step back 3 that time by Jordan Poole. Again, don't settle for those type of shots. You've been successful at driving the ball at the basket and then kicking out, getting shots.
That might have been part of the swag overdose.
Well, yeah.
Here's a 3. Put it down. Sorrell Smith, another youngster, tremendous freshman who's given so much to this team out of St. Petersburg. And it's 42-39.
And how about the pass, the cross-court pass, zipped it with a lot of gusto. That came from Fernando to Smith.
Shot clock winding down. Testy for 3. And the rebound cleared by Wiggins. 4 of 21 now, Michigan from downtown. They continue to launch and come up dry most of the time.
But you are who you are at this point, you know, so you're not going to stop shooting open shots. Right. It's the contested ones you kind of want to limit.
Cowan, not there. Pulled down by Livers with a quick outlet to Poole. Jordan Poole in to win. 44-39. Fast break points are now 14-2 in favor of the Wolverines. Great cut, just a great cut, but he threw it up quickly, did Aaron Wiggins. Simpson gets rolling. Look at it. You know, when the ball becomes a part of the anatomy off the dribble and you give him space, Xavier knows what to do. Timeout. Big Ten basketball is sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Our score 47-39. Jimmy, how about Jordan Poole?
Well, on the defensive end, Jordan Poole, you see this play right here with Fernando with the double team. Poole got a little bit late out, but that's an example of Fernando expanding his game. But on the offensive end, he found himself very quickly. The recognition defender is backpedaling, attacks Smith, able to make amends somewhat for hanging out in the lane a little too long.
The old top 50 recruit helped La Lemure to a 29-1 record in his high school national title, and Without him and that big bucket late,
Wow.
would not have gotten to the Final Four. 8 points all this half for Jordan Poole. Taking a seat now. Maryland had cut it to 3, and then bang, Maryland comes down defensively and can't get a stop, and Michigan back up by 8. Oh, that's a reach-in foul. That'll go against Brazdakis. Second foul on the given name, Ignas Brazdakis, better known as Iggy. Sorrell Smith, not this time, kept alive by Smith, but finally corralled by Simpson.
Yeah, it was four Wolverines that time, fighting for that defensive rebound.
Ayala and Bruno Fernando will come in on the next dead ball. They have gone to the scores table. Simpson leaving it for Matthews. This pull-up not there, and it's pulled down by Cowan. Wiggins, way off the mark, out of bounds. Last touch by the Wolverines, it appears. Timeout. Michigan up 8.
All right, Jimmy, it's your time to shine. It's mock selection time.
Okay, my friend.
I'm boycotting. I'm not doing this anymore. Steve, our producer, Steve Shear gets this. I mean, my thing's a quad 1-2 wins, 8. I'm going to go with first one.
To the left. Okay.
I'm just going with it because I don't want to play with you anymore.
He once again disses his alma mater, the Buckeyes of Ohio State, just completely overlooking them. Look at the road versus neutral record. I mean,
I did it on purpose.
And you give Avery Johnson the nod.
That's my man.
Hey, man, get us to number 50. Get us to 50. Get us to the big fella. Get us to big fella.
Spoken by the man who, of course, he played alongside and against for many, many years.
Oh, yeah, David Robinson.
Oh, boy.
Avery. And that's a tough gig to have down at Alabama. Come on, man. Nick Saban looming over you.
Yeah, and you got the SEC really so good this year. Nice work off the inbounds with Aaron and Wiggins, and it's 47-42.
Excellent play out of the timeout, misdirection, back in the corner. Not a lot of pressure on the passer that time. Maybe Wiggins open for that jump shot.
Yeah, after that timeout, forced by the run by Michigan, by Turgeon, only one timeout remaining for the Terps. It's a good cut, but great reaction by Cowan. Teskey, not there. Cowan, the rebound. And those open threes are falling either long or short for John Teskey. We have not seen the best of Ayala today, but he does open the floor for this. Cowan misses the layup.
Wow, and that time the strong post up by Fernando opened up the driving lane.
Brazdakis, boy, that's a 5-point swing right there.
Yes.
It should have been a 3-point game, and now it's 8. Big miss by Cowan when he went finger roll, and then it rolled off the back iron.
Well, I tell you what, the cross-court passes coaches kind of stay away from, but in transition, to put the zip on it into a shooter's shooting pocket is so important. We've seen it on a number of occasions with Maryland, and also in that last play to Iggy to knock in that shot.
Smith got it on the floor way too much. Almost turned it over. Shot clock at 1. Cowan. It did get some of the rim. Put back, rejected by Teskey.
Listen, Teskey may not be knocking down his jump shot today, but his presence is being felt defensively.
Livers not there. Bruno running the floor hard. The trailer is Wiggins for 3. Long rebound. Bruno's got it. With feeling. Little leaner off of the window pane.
Who was it? Was that Livers or?
Yeah, Livers.
No, trying to get the offensive rebound. And two hands. Fernando almost crushed the basketball. Took the air out.
Yeah. He had those two big mitts around the leather, and it was like, get out of my way.
Yeah, but the awareness to go quickly and attack the rim.
Matthews not there.
Yeah, he wanted to foul on the elbow that time on the shot.
Another great opportunity. There's Sticks off the alley-oop. and he's going to get called for the foul on this end.
Let's go back
It goes against Smith.
Yeah, and the transition I talked about, look at this. Xavier Simpson, on time, on target. Brazdegis able to square up, and I tell you, it's such a premium on passing the basketball to shooters to get it to him. And then Fernando here just powered his way, got Teskey up in the air, showed a little finesse, the underneath move.
That was the third foul on Jalen Smith, the 6th team foul against Maryland. So Michigan shoots the 1-and-1 the rest of the day.
Well, think about that. If he makes the layup, he doesn't get the foul,
right,
and Michigan is not in the penalty, you know?
Oh, great pass and a recovery in good hands by Teskey. The lead back to 8. And that's really been the pendulum we've been on.
Yeah.
Maryland cuts it to 3, maybe 4. Michigan, ba-boom, back to 8.
Well, that's why it's important. Coaches always talk about getting consecutive defensive stops.
Cowan off that curl. Shoulders not square this time. Ayala pumps. Bruno a tap out. Run down by Wiggins. Cowan again. Oh, tantalizingly unkind to rim on those 3-point launches. Simpson searching and found it. He's like a heat-seeking missile for a dish. What a pass from Simpson to Teskey. The lead back to 10. Really, you can't stop the run anymore because you've only got the one timeout. You're in the media timeout zone. The next dead ball, though. Wiggins the launch.
Oh, what space. Way to clear out space, Fernando.
Cowan wide open.
He's not staying with it.
And a follow. Nice work on the offensive boards by Aaron Wiggins.
Cowan right now in his jump shot is kind of leaving before it's completed, and that's taking a little bit of steam off the shot. But excellent follow inside. Is that Wiggins?
Well, they expended a lot of effort in that offensive sequence. I think they're looking for a dead ball in that media timeout. Teskey again for 3. This time he rattles it home. That was authoritative. Wiggins in traffic. Remember the legend of Big John? Big John has the last 7 for Michigan.
John Teskey finally 1 of 7, but right on time.
And look out for them in these remaining weeks. Ed Cooley's teams have a habit of getting really hot as we head for the Garden and the Big East tournament. How about the interior passing of Michigan, though?
Yeah, but it was aided by the miscommunication. You see 2 players by the Terrapins. Opens up the lanes for Matthews, get it to Teskey. And once again, on the backside, Xavier Simpson maintaining his dribble. And the lack of communication on the baseline, okay, led to openings that Michigan was able to exploit.
Well, you see the game reset. Now each team, after another foul, is in the bonus. Michigan this half with 7 assists and no turnovers. That has really been the difference. They've just been much more efficient than Maryland. Still, the Terps within reach. We'll see if they have 1 run left. They've managed to cut it to a 2-possession game on several occasions here in the second. But Michigan has always bombarded them right back.
Well, it's all, you know, and you hate to have it if you're a Terrapin fan, because this is part of the growth process that you go through when you have a young team, is understanding time and score, possessions, and there's a half that we haven't seen all day.
That was like a Roberta Flack killing me softly on the window pane shot from Simpson.
Well,
man, was that a great shot.
Gus called it the 3 o'clock hook. Now it's 1:48 right now, so it's getting closer to 3. So Xavier knew the game would be over by then, so just brought it out of his
Get well,
bag.
Gus. We'll send out some love to Gus, who's a little under the weather today. Nice running pass and a beauty to Sticks. Jalen Smith puts it in from Cowan, and it's 59-50. Only 1 timeout remaining for Maryland, as we mentioned.
Yeah, but when you're able to score, you're able to press your defense up a little bit more to see if you can get a turnover.
I mean, this is just a beauty. He's right about it. It is a 3 o'clocker.
Oh, here it is. Look at this. And he saw Jalen Smith coming from the baseline. So watch him invert right here, and this is baby Kareem right here. I don't know if Kareem was running as much, but
when you take it that high off the glass,
it takes a lot of touch, man.
Back in the day, they called it the banking board, but you take it high off the glass.
What
like
they call it back in the day?
The banking board.
The what?
The banking board. You bank the shot in.
What was that, in 33?
No, that was more like 67, 70 maybe, somewhere in there. Back when I went to Dixie basketball camps back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds like something.
But that's
30s
killing.
or 40s.
That's killing me softly off the glass from Roberta Fleck.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah. Simpson makes it an 11-point game. Some of Maryland's three-point shooters need to warm up. And that was a poor pass that time from Smith. And another Terrapins turnover.
Yeah, that time kind of led Fernando, but Fernando was open off the spin move inside, and Smith over-anticipated where Fernando would ultimately be.
A lot of time coming off the clock. Maryland got to play straight up, at least for now. Ball tipped away, but right into Brazdeikis' hands, and he's fouled with 2 left on the clock. So they used up a lot of time and got to the free throw line to boot. Cowan gets the foul, his third. To the point that was made earlier today, this has been an up and down Maryland team, but they seem to really be playing well. Even in their loss to Wisconsin, Turge was saying, you know, Happ is a tough take, and he is, no question. They played extraordinarily well in that second half, maybe the best 20 minutes they played all year against Purdue, arguably the hottest team in the Big Ten the last month. But today, they reverted back and had that same turnover problem that has been their bugaboo all year long. Michigan has scored on its last 6 trips to extend this lead to a baker's dozen. Wolverines needed to send a message after that loss to Penn State, and I dare say they have.
Well, it's interesting because Charles Matthews spoke about this after the game and said, we weren't tough enough.
Yeah.
Penn State basically they punked us when we went in there. We had to do a better job of not allowing that to happen. And they came out and kind of threw the proverbial first punch against Maryland and kind of set the tone early.
Listen, Minnesota is still a bubble team, and Coach Pitino's got them playing with a lot of emphasis now. Then, of course, the monster matchup with Michigan State on the 24th. So it's going to be tough for any of the favored teams, given the backloaded Big Ten schedules. And there's Maryland's.
A tough one at Iowa.
Boy, the Hawkeyes, come on, dynamite at home for Fran McCaffrey. They have been lights out. Wieskamp has really come on strong for Fran's team.
Bohannon playing well.
Absolutely.
I mean, but isn't that the beauty of the conference? And I talked about the strength of a conference.
The depth.
It's not always at the top.
Bottom up.
It's the bottom teams that
I'm with you.
Can knock you off at any given time.
See Illinois and Penn State for details.
Yes.
And they are tough outs right now.
And I have the drive by Cowan. I have the Illinois at Wisconsin game.
That won't be easy.
And you know, like Penn State, Illinois wants to speed you up, pressure you, force you into turnovers, and take advantage of it. Always tough to speed up a Wisconsin team because of how they play. So it'd be interesting to see what happens on Monday with that game.
There is no doubt that there are some leagues in the country that may be more top-heavy than the Big Ten, but no league is this deep.
Well,
no league.
The only league you talk about really, well, you know, you say the Big 12 this year is deep, but the ACC because of Duke. But Big Ten, oh my goodness, this is just every game.
It's unreal. Matthews up against the clock. What a game for him. A veteran that has meant much to this team down the stretch. 14 points. How efficient. 7 out of 12 from the floor, and he's been all over the place defensively.
Well, he was the one that made the statement I talked about being tougher. So he came out early himself and establish how Michigan was going to play this game.
Great crowd on hand here at Chrysler, as always. And they come away with the victory. 23-3, 12-3 in the Big Ten, 16-0 at home. No turnovers the entire second half. We have only just begun here on Fox. Our final, 65-52 for Jim Jackson, Andy Katz, Tim Brando saying so long. We'll see you to Rob Stone in Los Angeles right after this. You've been watching College Hoops right here on Fox.